try, like with photography and with stories and everything else, to make things as genuine and authentic, like you just happen to be there at the right time to catch the real thing.
When I have the opportunity to debate President Bush in the general election, I'm going to give him a gift. I really am. I'm going to give him an embossed copy of the Bill of Rights. It's going to have his name on it. And I think he'll enjoy reading it.
In my junior year of high school, I began organizing protests about President Bush and the war in Iraq. I then borrowed the school's VHS camcorder and started doing interviews throughout Racine, Milwaukee, and Door County. A month after we started organizing the protests, we were shot at with a paintball gun, had eggs thrown at us, and even were physically assaulted by the individuals. When my high school principal found out about what had happened to us, he had also found out that we were using the school's VHS camcorder. He and the district threatened to sue me if I ever showed any of the footage. Yes, sir?
I mean, you know, it's good to say bring them home, but we're fighting the war on Al-Qaeda, the ones that blew up all the 9/11, 9/11, there now. So why bring them all home? How can you fight them?
Well, President Bush has lied to the Americans for the necessariness of this.
You tell me a politician that hasn't lied to the Americans. Name one that never lied. What do you think politics is all about? It's tell them what they want to hear. In other words, go in for a group and tell your constituents or the people there what they want to hear.
Well, all I know is that by going there and bombing women and children, we're just going to anger more people into hating America.
We're bombing women and children?
They are casualties of war.
Okay, what do you think happened at 9/11? You know, in the great big office buildings. How many women and children you think were killed there?
It's gonna break.
Thousands.
Well,
and that was Saudi Arabians that did it.
Al-Qaeda isn't only in Iraq. President Bush said there were weapons of mass destruction and we haven't seen any.
Not yet, because they're buried. And a lot of them are in Syria. That's what they are.
His brother's going there.
That's good. I hope he has good luck.
Were you in World War II?
I was in World War II. I was in Korea. I was in Grenada, Panama, and Desert Storm 1. I'm a Green Beret, and I know what I'm talking about. So give it some thought. But anyway, we got to fight it somewhere, and they're all pouring into Iraq. We might as well do it there.
Well, we're all entitled to our own opinion.
Yeah, right.
Have a nice day.
Totally irresponsible move. We had no business invading a country under false pretenses. The pretense was that there was intelligence to prove weapons of mass destruction, where that was all a lie, and the American people unfortunately just watch the news for 20 minutes each day, if that, on TV, and believe whatever is told by Fox News, and it's ridiculous.
Thumbs up or a thumbs down as president?
Thumbs down totally.
Do you think he's doing a good job on any means?
I can't think of anything in particular at all.
And what's your view on the war in Iraq?
Illegal.
Presidential.
George Bush.
George Bush. And are you impressed with the work he's doing?
Yes, I am.
Oh yeah, he lied to us. I think that was more personal than anything else or business. Like it was nothing about weapons.
To me, he ain't for the low, you know what I'm saying, the low middle class people. It's like, you know what I'm saying, like for the upper, you know what I mean?
He's from a well-heeled background, therefore he's for no big business. And you can tell by some of the policies and some of the things that he's tried to push through Congress, like the most recent overtime laws, which would basically eliminate whole groups of people from qualifying for overtime. I don't think that's right.
I feel like I've been lied to. We go over there to look for weapons of mass destruction and you can't find them. Now you go over there and you take over and our soldiers are dying. They're surrounded by these Arabs that are taking, you know, this Taliban or Al-Qaeda. They're taking shot at us right now. We're standing there. I got family over there. You know, bring them back.
Democrat, but I'll support him.
What did you think about the war in Iraq?
Well,
If it goes on too long, that it wasn't worth it.
yeah, all in all, I'm probably in favor of the war in Iraq, but it's dragging on a little too long, so that's making me nervous.
I think it was a terrible mistake. It was a waste of both our monetary and human resources, and now we're stuck with it.
Do you see any favoritism in the fact that Dick Cheney used to be the CEO of Halliburton, and now Halliburton is the company we chose to take care of the oil?
I wasn't aware of that.
I don't think that was a very smart move, and particularly since they were no bid contracts.
Bush is giving all these big contracts to friends and companies that he worked with.
Halliburton, the same company that Dick Cheney was the CEO of.
That's right.
You think that's corrupt?
Yeah, it's corruption. You know, if you're gonna go ahead and take over a place, let us know we're taking over. You know, don't tell us we're going over there to find weapons and there is no weapons there.
Like, you know, the rebate checks or whatever, you had to fit up under a certain bracket just to get that. And I didn't feel like that was fair.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it ain't his fault that, you know, people poor or whatever or whatnot, but you're supposed to be the president of the country. You're supposed to make sure that people in your country is doing well.
I think we got no business there. I think all George Bush wants is the oil. Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden, they had a lot to do with the oil refineries back in the 80s when the U.S. was in Iran and then actually went to Afghanistan and then from there to Iraq.
It's going like Vietnam. A few here, a few there. I served there in Vietnam. It's got to stop. You know, if there's after the oil, there's got to be a different way to come after that. This is my bus.
All George W. Bush wants is the oil. That's all he's after. And he's put our sons and our daughters in harm's way, and he's having our brothers and sisters of the United States murdered and maimed and killed over his selfishness.
I think it was a necessary war. I think it's unfortunate but necessary. And I support what he's trying to accomplish 100%.
Honest opinion, I really don't care about the people over there. Unless they do something that affects me personally or people I know.
He's like trying to buy out the Mideast and trying to make the United States part of the one world government. I think that's what's going on.
What's your view of the war in Iraq?
I think it's sad. I think it's sad that the world hates us worse than what they do. I think it's sad that we feel that we have to govern other people, that we have no business governing. I think it's really harmful to the entire world and to children and to not just to the rebels, but to the entire world. Because it sends a message that killing people is the resolution, and it never was, and it never will be.
Charlie Taft and all those liberals and Republicans are going to not have to
And nearly every weekend in November and December of that year, my friends and I would get together in Sister Bay and hold protest banners and signs and have little demonstrations against the war in Iraq.
Santa! I know what I want for Christmas!
What would you like for Christmas?
Peace!
I think everybody wants. We need a new president.
Yeah. Okay! Thank you, Mrs. Claus! Thank you, Santa! Yeah! Oh, candy cane! Candy cane! And a new president!
On December 6th day, we got a big Door County holiday today towards Christmas, and we're trying to get President Bush impeached because he made us go to war for oil.
Jihad.
And that was not cool. Yeah, we're gonna go impeach President Bush.
Dude, it's not gonna fit you. It will.
Impeach President Bush.
What did you guys do your campaigning on your own time? We're here, really, honestly. This isn't a political part, right?
We live here in Door County.
Whether you live here or not, this card is not for political campaigning. I don't...
That's what America is for, ma'am.
Maybe I agree with them. I don't want anybody to know what I agree with. Well, you know. Enjoy your campaigning.
It's recording with the lens cap.
Yes?
Later that day, Ross Zilke and two of his friends started shooting at us with a paintball gun, throwing eggs at us, and eventually getting out of their vehicle and physically assaulting us.
Just peacefully doing something and they're going to exit us.
They're gonna wait till you guys go back.
One of the individuals thought he could get out of the Jeep and physically attack me, but he was quickly outnumbered by the protesters and left. And the protest continued for several hours as we dodged paintballs and eggs.
Here they come. Be ready. Yank you right in the face. We're having physical waves.
That's correct.
Okay.
And they didn't miss this time.
Oh. Well, thank you.
It's cold.
Those are the guys who egged us. Yeah, I got them.
And at the end of the day, after most of the protesters left, they got out of their vehicle, punched me, kicked our materials, and even smashed an egg right in my back.
Hey, you didn't wreck it. You didn't wreck it. Hello, officer. You called? Yeah, let's get... no.
Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld plans to send about 3,000 additional U.S. Marines to Iraq. It'll happen early next year. Some U.S. soldiers say they are thankful to be back from Iraq for Thanksgiving. ABC's Andrew Colton is at Fort Stewart, Georgia.
The soldiers working in this kitchen call it a vital mission, preparing Thanksgiving dinner for up to 1,000 troops. Preparing turkey, pie, rib, a number of hors d'oeuvres, mushroom stuffing cheddar, and the best part of it all, the superior officers here at Fort Stewart working the servers.
A number of Iraqi police officers have complained about low pay. They also say they don't have adequate equipment to protect themselves against increasing attacks by Iraqi insurgents. About 25 million Americans qualified for child tax credits, according to the IRS.
Soon after the egging incident, I traveled to my hometown of Racine, Wisconsin, and interviewed people throughout the city on their thoughts of President George Bush and the war in Iraq.
How would you rate the performance of George Bush?
I think he's doing excellent. I voted for him.
He lied to get us into war.
I think he's a president that done a lot of things that he shouldn't have done.
President Bush is sending our men and women over there to get killed, and I don't think it's for the right reason. I look at 9/11, and it seems like the ones responsible for that has been Laden. So why is it that we're over in Iraq? And I would say it's all because of money.
I think he's doing a great job sending all of our young guys out there, fighting in Iraq, losing their lives for what?
Warmonger, wasting all our money, want to take my money away, and you know, I don't have that much money to go buy Christmas presents for my own kids over here, but he wants to give away billions of dollars and send it over there.
He is doing what he believes to be necessary, and as far as it goes, I back him totally.
Look at the economy right now. I mean, the rich is spending right now. The poor can't even spend. They can't even buy things for their families. A lot of people is unemployed right now. I mean, the economy's bad because of this war. I mean, people right now are scared to shop. Look at the mall.
Because there's no money. Everybody's scared. Everybody's scared. The economy's down. Everything's down.
All our jobs are going to China. They need to try and get some kind of laws into place. You know, how can you remain #1 superpower if your people don't have work, or if you're sending everything out of the country? So no, I do not have a very good opinion of Bush or his dad.
I think the only problem is he's trying to finish his daddy's job. Because who's this guy, Bush? All he's trying to do is follow Bush Sr. He's nothing but a buffoon who just wants to fight, doesn't want to solve no problems in America. Look, we're all the way in Iraq. We have no reason to be there. We're all the way in Afghanistan. What the heck, bring our troops back.
As long as they're over there, I guess we gotta support them. And George Bush, I like him for some of the things he does and some things I don't. I mean, you know, it's a mixed feeling, but I think he's trying to do the job, you know, best he can.
Did you vote for him?
Yes, I did.
I don't think they should have had that war. I mean, because it was over things that wasn't related to the United States.
Merry Christmas!
I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's better to take the fight to the terrorists rather than having them here on our streets.
I'm beginning to wonder about the policy change apparently that is taking place in Washington where we go after preemptive war. I mean, to me, preemptive war is like talking about committing suicide because you're afraid of death.
They try to make it seem like Saddam is a killer. I mean, he probably did them things over there, but that's their country over there. They need to worry about our country. We got people over here starving, people that's poor, it's cold out here, people homeless, but they worrying about trying to take $87 billion and build Iraq instead of building jobs over here for America.
You know, people are losing their jobs, meaning they don't have health insurance. No, he cares about the rich, his peers. And that's why there's the fight over this for oil.
I don't really think the wrong over, you know, people killed. I think it's a war for oil.
Not absolutely necessary, but since we got it started, I feel that we are obligated to finish it to its extreme. Come out one way or the other.
Which should be used in voting, the Electoral College or the popular vote?
I would go with popular vote.
Probably popular vote, I'd say.
I would say popular vote. I never did care for electoral college.
Popular vote.
People should be voting for everything that's going on around here. But they know how to make the ballots, you know, twisting them and turning them like they did 3-4 years ago, made his brother do it.
Do you think his brother, being governor of Florida, helped him to win the election?
Definitely.
The war in Iraq?
I feel that we are not prepared. We haven't been prepared to do what we should do after the war. I don't think they had a plan, and nothing's working right. It's bad. It's very bad. And I feel very sorry for the boys that are over there.
You're supposed to be running that tomorrow?
Huh?
You're supposed to be running that tomorrow?
I don't know.
You ain't got permission from management, you can't run it at all.
Okay, sir.
Not at all.
Who are you going to vote for? In November for the presidency? A Democratic candidate or Bush or possibly Green?
No, we are sick of Bush.
Oh.
So we would rather go with a Democratic candidate.
Do you think that Bush is possibly losing votes from even the Republican Party?
Yes, I think the war has a lot to do with it.
And do you upset you that weapons of mass destruction haven't been found?
Correct, they haven't.
Okay.
So, yeah, a lot of people are disappointed with that, you know, wondering why we went to war.
So this guy has messed us up domestically and in foreign policy. It's not going to work. I mean, we're dissolving. The whole democracy is dissolved.
Well, the Constitution is null and void as of that his inauguration.
Yeah, as when they declared
under that it was
Catherine Harris declared
you don't know what Constitution. Oh, yeah, you got none of this.
No. He continues. It could be. You know, he wrote civil rights, and he's broken the Constitution. He's lied. I mean, what more is there? War. Two wars. What grounds do you need for impeachment? Yeah. You know? And how much do you need? That's not even going into what he did know before 9/11. He doesn't want anybody to find that one out.
President Bush, thumbs up or thumbs down?
So, I wouldn't use a thumb. I'd use another finger. I'd use a half a peace sign. I'll let the viewers figure out which thumb I mean.
What's your view on the war in Iraq?
There shouldn't have been one. It was a sovereign state. It was a preemptive war. It's an international war crime. And I'd like to know who's going to get charged.
You think Bush is going to lose?
I hope somebody else gets in, somebody that can really lead this country in a whole new way. I've been doing a lot of following Kucinich, and I really like a lot what he stands for and what his beliefs are, what his values are.
Congressman Kucinich.
As president, I will see myself as a peace president. And I think we have to change this metaphor of war in our society. We have to quit talking about addressing problems, a war on this, a war on that. We already see this last war was not necessary. I think we're in a new era in the world where we can see the world as one, the world as interconnected and interdependent. The world's waiting for a United States president who's ready to create a sustainable structure for peace. And as president, I will do that. I'll work to eliminate all nuclear weapons and confirm the Non-Proliferation Treaty. I'll sign the Biological Weapons Convention, the Chemical Weapons Convention, the Small Arms Treaty, the Landmine Treaty. America will join the International Criminal Court. I'll sign the Kyoto Climate Change Treaty. And furthermore, in getting rid of the Patriot Act, I'll call upon Americans to bring forth the essential courage which we have in our hearts. My presidency will be about the end of fear and the beginning of hope, about a new hope in America for a nation that can work with the nations of the world so that we can achieve security here at home.
Gloria.
Well, the war in Iraq is just like every other war. It's really bad, and it's basically based on false premises, as all wars are usually. And it's a racket to make a lot of people money.
The casualties in Iraq continue to mount. We know that about 535 men and women have lost their lives. As many of you know, I led the effort in the House of Representatives challenging the administration's march towards war in Iraq. Many of you know that. The only one running for president in this field who actually voted against the war, and actually the only one who voted against the Patriot Act as well.
You know, the funny thing is in World War II, we fought against fascism and racism only to have more of it here. And the odd thing is here we are fighting against weapons of mass destruction so we can have more here. I mean, you know, eventually a larger number of people will figure out that all of our wars are all about doublethink, and the media always helps everybody think the right thing, which is nothing, you know. So hopefully that's going to change. You know?
What are your reasons for supporting Dennis Kucinich?
Because he's the only candidate that's not full of shit. You know?
True.
Put it bluntly. I mean, they're pick and carry like they always do. If you read history, at least read like Howard Zinn's history, what they always do in America is when it gets to like a boiling point, which it is now, like when it was in the 60s, or in the 50s, or in the 40s, or in the 30s, or in the 20s, or every decade when there's a big, they screwed us up so much that people are starting to riot. They always they pick, not us, they pick for us a candidate that is not too rough around the edges so they can kind of tweak things to make people feel like they're voting. The voting really in this country is to keep people from taking over because they feel like they have a voice when they vote, and they do this much, mostly this much. But so they're picking Kerry because he's a guy with connections, a guy with money, and I'm sure he's going to be better in general than George Bush because he's not quite as fascist as he is, but he's still going to be working for a major, over the long course of history, fascist scene. Traditionally, the Democratic presidents in this country have been more aggressive internationally. Even Clinton, even though it wasn't a big, well, I guess it was big then. He went into Kosovo and there was like as big a bombing as Desert Storm, and longer, and continued Desert Storm, by the way, the whole time he was president, but not in the news.
No strings. No strings. No strings.
President Clinton was impeached for lying about what he lied about. Do you think that President Bush would deserve impeachment?
Big time. 10 times over. You know, his one guy's lied. You know, he got in trouble for getting a blowjob, and the other guy's like 10,000 people in one country, another 10,000 in another country for oil, basically for oil and a big stiffy, you know.
You want a president who has no strings? Here I am. I'm ready. Are you ready, Wisconsin? Take back your government. Ready for universal single-payer health care. Ready to save our jobs. Ready to get out of Iraq. Well, I'm ready too, so let's go do it. It's Valentine's Day. People's hearts are open. So when people's hearts are open, they hear what I have to say. And it was nice to be on. I got a lot of great responses. Thank you. No, I got a lot of great responses. People want to know their politicians are human beings. That we're not. That we have more than ice and we have a heart. And that we have a sense of humor. It's a pretty serious world, but it's important to have a sense of humor. And I have one.
Thank you for having us. President Bush said that the protesters before the war would not stand in the way of national security. Do you think they were? What do you think of that? What she said.
I was one of those protesters. So, you know, that's what free speech is all about. And when I have the opportunity to debate President Bush in the general election, I'm going to give him a gift. I really am. I'm going to give him an embossed copy of the Bill of Rights. It's going to have his name on it. And I think he'll enjoy reading it.
And as president, you would protect free speech?
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much.